Howdy y'all, welcome to Nerd Studio. We're up in the gun room today with a follow-up on my TRUGLO TFO video. Stay tuned. Hey, if you haven't watched the first video I did in this issue, you probably want to go back and do that before you watch this one. I'll put a link right here. This will make a lot more sense if you do. So I took that first video and I went and posted it up on TRUGLO's Facebook page and sort of just asked, hey, what do you guys make of this? And they had a pretty good response. They kind of give me a little background about their sites and they gave me an email address to email and contact their support team, and I thanked them and sent the email and went along my merry way. Now, on Thursday of this week, I got a call from support, but before we get into the call, let me sort of back up and give you the backstory here. I've had this front sight fail on 4 different guns. Let me just sort of run down the list. The first was on my Glock 17, and that's not a gun I shoot a whole lot. I just kind of considered it a fluke, so I set the insert aside and put the gun up, and I'll deal with that another day. A couple of weeks later, it was probably 2, 3, 4 weeks later, I don't keep a calendar of these things, I'm out shooting the Glock 43 and bloop, the front sight comes off that. So I start to get a little concerned, and I went up and did a little research, and it turns out that sure enough, this isn't that uncommon of an issue, and the universal answer that everyone has given is whack some crazy glue in there and put the sight back in and you know, kind of move along. Well, I wanted to see what TRUGLO had to say about it, so I think I went up to their website and I filled out their contact us form, and their response was, send the sights back and we'll replace them. Well, it's really hot in North Carolina right now. I think today's over 100 degrees, and it's middle of summer. And I've been carrying my Glock 43 every day, and I don't really have a holster for my Glock 19 that's, built really for being hotter than hell outside. So I wasn't really ready to have my Glock 43 down for an extended period of time. So I kind of just went, well, I'll deal with this later, and got the crazy glue out and tacked that thing back in there. Sure enough, it seemed solid enough to move on, and it didn't interfere with the sight picture. All right. Next gun. I get an M&P9 that I TFO sights on, and I'm selling it to a friend. And while I'm showing him the gun, bloop, the front insert comes out. It's very embarrassing. I hadn't put maybe 700 or 800 rounds through that gun, and it had actually been treated really well. I was, it was friend prices. He's a buddy. We stuck some super glue on that thing. It looks fine, and we moved on. Lastly was the incident that led up to that last video. I'm out last weekend with my Glock 19, and I go to get a front sight picture, and nothing, it's not there. I almost lost that one. I had to crawl around and look for 15 minutes to find it. That was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back, and what led up to the first video. So, back to the phone call from the customer service rep. 1 second, I get something to drink. It's a long video. I hope you don't mind. So, he starts off by mentioning that I never sent the Glock 43 sight back for the RMA. Now, I repeatedly try to start into the story I just gave you, and each time I start, he talks right over the top of me, trying to ask me the same questions over and over. So I back up and go, okay, well, let's get through your spiel here. First, he wants to know had solvents, oils, chemicals got onto the sights? Okay, I went, yes, I'm sure they did. Next up, he says, did I put super glue on the sights? And I'm like, I had to explain to him several times, yes, but not until after they broke. Anyway, he goes on to explain that solvents or chemicals can weaken that front insert, which might cause it to break, and that weakness is common among all sights that are made like this. He also explains that impacts, such as occur by impact with a Kydex holster, a hard Kydex holster, can damage the sights. A Kydex holster? That was kind of my limit. I sort of lost my patience at that point. I didn't start yelling or anything. It just, that was it. I was done. And I asked him, you do realize this product goes on a gun, right? You know, it's a gun. It's next to impossible to guarantee that some cleaning supply won't get on that site. It's next to impossible to guarantee that's not going to happen. It's beyond reasonable to expect that a shooter's not going to use a Kydex holster and bump that front sight on the Kydex while he's using his gun. Here's the kicker. What if I got in a gunfight and had an impact and the front sight breaks? It blows my mind. Sure, now I understand, and he did remind me, that there are instructions in the package that comes with the sights. They do indicate that the sights require special handling, but if they're so delicate that the impact of regular use can cause it to fail, these things shouldn't be on the market. I mean, come on. We round out the conversation with him asking me, and I thought this was pretty much the strangest part of the conversation. He asked if I shoot a lot, like 10,000 rounds a year. So like 10,000 rounds a year? And so I respond with, yep. Yeah, I do. Not all through the same gun, but yeah, 10,000 rounds a year is a reasonable number. You know, I'm currently practicing for the NRA instructor's course. I'm constantly building my skills. It's why I have a home range. So yeah, I shoot a lot. And then he says, and I'm not really sure where he's going with this, but he says, well, and I'm not being respectful here, but he says, well, gee, that's not really a terribly unreasonable amount, I guess. I'm not sure where he was going. Anyway, he explains next that their TFX and their TFO Pro line of sights don't have the weakness that the TFO sights do. And it was either him or the folks on the website, one of them said, and we released them a year after the TFO. And so you can kind of insert there because we realized the TFO was not the bee's knees. Anyway, more on their TFX sites in a second. I was pretty unimpressed for where this conversation was going, and frankly, at this point, I'm just going, this guy's wasting my time. So I just sort of let the conversation wind down, and he bottom lines it for me. He says, if I want to send him the entire slide for my Glock 43, they will install the TFX or TFX Pro or the TFO Pro sights on it. Then he says, if I like the new sights, they would expect me to pull down the video. So then I try and ask him, so well, I've had 4 of these sights break. What about the other guns? And he just sort of dodges that and says, this is what I can offer to do. So I told him I'd think about it. Well, folks, I thought about it, and here's my conclusion. No one in their right mind should buy this product for a gun that they expect to be able to defend themselves with. Once these sites started breaking in reportable numbers, any company worth their salt should have come up with a fix or yanked them off the market. If you want money from serious shooters, that better be your answer. I suggested to their rep that, you know, hey, I'm surprised you haven't recalled this product. And he was really quick to say, oh, this isn't a recall. It's a weakness of the technology. And I'm like going, well. Now, I've had their TFX sights on one other gun. I think it's my 30SF. And hey, they're more expensive, but they do offer a very similar sight picture. I sold that gun before I really had a chance to get a feel for the TFX. But really at this point, after my experience with TRUGLO, they're not getting any more of my money, and they're not willing to make it right. So let me say now, I don't have perfect memory, so I may be recalling some of that conversation out of order, and some of my quotations weren't word for word. But that being said, here are 2 things I can say for sure. Number 1, their TFO product was a waste of my money. And I think it's a waste of yours. Number 2, as a word to all manufacturers of products that appear in my videos, I will not pull my videos down when the video is an accurate reflection of my experience with your product. And it's insulting to ask me to do so. And what this guy did, frankly, was, I don't know, it borderline on bribery. It just felt icky. All right, here's the cool thing about this experience, though. many of you have suggested alternative sites that I can try, and that's awesome. So I bought a site pusher. This guy here, I don't really know much about them. I watched some YouTube videos, and this one reads really well. Looks like a pretty basic thing. And I'm going to give as many of these sites a go as I can and make videos along the way. Ameriglow, CAP, I don't know what it is. I'm still looking at them. But Ameriglow was probably the most commonly suggested in the thread, and that's probably going to be the first up that I'm going to try. I think my buddy Adam has a pair on his Glock 19. He's going to bring it by this weekend for me to look at. So I'm going to install as many of these as I can and treat them the same way I did these TFO sites. Now this is going to take a while because that process was not quick. So it's not like I'm going to buy the sites one week and film the next video or film the next week or anything like that. It's going to take a while to try them out. And I'm probably going to stick to doing this on just one gun because I gotta make sure that, well, I don't know, these TFO sites, maybe I won't, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. You know, I wish I was able to finish this video and say I had this amazing experience with TRUGLO customer service, but that's just not what happened. So I'm hoping my loss is your gain and we'll learn some new information together. Oh well. Next. All right, folks, always remember anyone can shoot and have fun. We'll see you next time.